Dobar dan svom narodu Srbije i narodima bivše Republike Jugoslavije. Ja sam zamenik predsjednika Sindikata zaposlenih policije nekada, a sada zamenik predsjednika Udruženja Policije građana Republike Srbije, Vladimir Miković. Rukovodstvo Udruženja Policije građana, zajedno sa delom bezbednosnih službi koji ga čine, donelo je odluku da vam se obratim sa saopštenjem u vezi obaveštenja i zahteva koje smo uputili svim domovima zdravlja u Republici Srbiji, kao Institutu za javno zdravlje Srbije Milan Jovanović Batut i tako isto Institutu za javno zdravlje Vojvodine, a u vezi HPV vakcina. Ovo obaveštenje je namijenjeno svim roditeljima, kao i svima koji shvate ozbiljnost situacije, kako bi zajedno sprečili i spasili što više života dece, da im ne unište život i izvrše tihu sterilizaciju, da nemaju svoju decu i pokoljenja. Još 2024. godine više puta smo vas upozoravali kao Sindikat zaposlenih policije i kao Udruženje Policije građana da vakcine HPV mogu ugroziti život dece i da su te vakcine stvorene od globalista koji su oslikani kroz političare pozicije opozicije, sportiste, doktore, tajkune, glumce, profesore, naučnu elitu i sveštenstvo, da je promovišu i da unište život vašeg deteta i dovedu ih do neplodnosti, a da vaša deca nemaju svoju decu i pokoljenja kako bi se ostvario njihov cilj zlatne milijarde na planeti, to je 500 miliona čipovanih ljudi. Pitamo vas koji ste se nas nekad prozivali vešci sindikata, udbaši, policajci, da li ćete dočekati neki svoje unučiće da budu zdravi i stasaju zdrave ljude? 2024. godine smo hitno reagovali i uputili zahtev za pristup informaciji od javnog značaja 24.12.2024. godine Ministarstvu zdravlja, Institutu za javno zdravlje Srbije Milan Jovanović Batut kao i Institutu za javno zdravlje Vojvodine. A taj zahtev ću vam preneti sada u celosti. Na osnovu člana 51 Ustava Republike Srbije, član 15 stav 1 Zakon o slobodnom pristupu informaciji od javnog značaja, obraćamo vam se u vezi vakcinacije sa HPV vakcinom. Iz napred navedenog potrebno je da nam shodno zakonu dostavite sledeće odgovore. Pod 1. Da li je u vezi napred navedene HPV vakcine sprovedeno bilo kakvo testiranje na plodnost mladih devojčica od strane Svetske zdravstvene organizacije, svetskih i evropskih zdravstvenih institucija, kao i naših zdravstvenih institucija u Republici Srbiji? Pod 2. Da li je tačno da je vakcina HPV odobrena samo nekoliko meseci nakon ispitivanja? Pod 3. Da li je Svetska zdravstvena organizacija, svetske i evropske zdravstvene institucije i naše zdravstvene institucije u Republici Srbiji, kao i vi, posjedujete dokaze i možete pod punom materijalnom i krivičnom odgovornošću garantovati da će HPV vakcina zaštititi od raka grlića materice i neće izazvati nikakve nuspojave, tihu sterilizaciju i štetne posledice. Nadamo se da ćete shodno zakonu tražene podatke dostaviti u zakonsko predviđenom roku. Nakon poslatog zahteva dobili smo odgovore, a jedan od tih odgovora ću vam preneti, koji su nam poslali dana 30.12.2024. godine pod brojem 01-1773/3 i to od Instituta za javno zdravlje Vojvodine. Zahtev za pristup informacije od javnog značaja koji je u Institut za javno zdravlje Vojvodine zaprimljen dana 25.12.2024. godine pod delovodnim brojem 01-1773/1 zatražili ste odgovore. Postupujući po vašem zahtevu, obaveštavam vas da institut ne raspolaže traženim informacijama. Odgovor nam je prosleđen od načelnika Centra za kontrolu i prevenciju bolesti profesora dr. Miolju Bristić i v.d. direktora Instituta za javno zdravlje Vojvodine doktorice Milene Tabaković. Na kraju pozvao bih sve roditelje, bez obzira koje političke stranke i verskog opredeljenja bili, da nam se jave, kako bi vam objasnili i preneli šta i kako treba postupiti i uraditi da zaštitite svoju decu od vakcinacije, kao i na koji način mi, kao Udruženje Policije građana, možemo zaštititi vas i vašu decu. U vezi svega napred, što sam vam preneo, zamolit ću vas sve da shvatite ozbiljnost situacije i kojima je stalo do života svoje dece, budućih unučadi i pokoljenja, da odgledate na kraju ovog videa kratki intervju i da ovo obraćanje podelite svima koje poznajete i gde god možete. Kome je stalo da spasi decu i spreči njihovu tihu sterilizaciju, taj će nas poslušati, podeliti, priključiti se, uključiti se u Udruženje Policije građana. I to ne više kao običan građanin, već kao deo bezbednosnog sistema sa nama. A kome nije, on će se i dalje boriti po strani lajkovima, komentarima i to sve kao usamljeni pojedinac. Na kraju ovog obraćanja, poruka za narod. Bezbednosne službe vam poručuju: narode, udružujte se. I ovim ću završiti. Hvala vam na gledanju. Da pobedi život, sloboda, istina i pravda, živela Srbija, narod i deca i sve republike bivše Jugoslavije.
Doctor, you've touched on vaccines a little bit. Just recently, a couple of organizations have now recommended HPV vaccines for boys as well as girls. Just an example of more and more vaccines that are getting added to the recommendation list for younger kids. What are the repercussions of that down the road?
First of all, infertility. That's the only reason, in my opinion, and our great friend Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, who is one of the world leading experts on this issue, we all believe the only reason for this is cause infertility. So that there was their agenda of really population control and population reduction. They want to make sure that we don't have children any longer and that we don't live long enough to collect Social Security. That's why they vaccinate all these soldiers. It's my belief they vaccinate all the soldiers like crazy, so that when they come home, because now they are trained and they have seen what dirt is out there and what war really means, and they are really, really angry and upset, so that they are sick and not energetic anymore and that they die off young, they give them all the vaccines and experimental vaccines and so on. Gulf War syndrome was only caused by vaccines. It haven't been caused by anything else. And so let's go back to the HPV. This, what's this criminal, Rick Perry? Yeah, he is one of the biggest mass murderers, in my opinion, out there. Bill Gates is really a good one, but Rick Perry, who told everybody it's a law that they have to vaccinate their children, their daughters, against the human papillomavirus, HPV. First of all, it was never a law, and when he was started running for president, that of course came up, and all of a sudden he said, no, I never said it was a law. But all these hundreds of thousands of young girls that got it will be probably infertile, but in 90% they will have cancer along the way. And we have girls that dropped with a needle still in them. We have thousands of girls that died from it. We have thousands of girls that have permanent neurological conditions and diseases from the HPV, from the Gardasil vaccine, even if the producers, of course, say it's not related. It happened directly afterwards to a healthy child, but there's no correlation, of course. And so when you start vaccinating, first of all, with the vaccine, you have all these toxic elements that are in the vaccines. And you get all these cancer-causing elements, including mercury, which is the main cause for all these brain tumors out there, because quicksilver, mercury, aluminum is the only element that crosses the blood-brain barrier without a problem. That's where all the brain tumors are coming from, or most of them at least. A lot of them, of course, come from amalgam, mercury fillings in the teeth, and implants and so on. But the main thing is just money. So they thought we tricked and paid Congress into allowing us to put poisons into girls. Now we have this market covered. Now we need to expand the market, and now we put it in boys. First of all, HPV or cervical cancer that supposedly is preventing, there's absolutely no proof it does that. Second of all, it prevents only, or it supposedly works only for, I believe, 4 of the hundreds and hundreds of HPV viruses out there. Second of all, if somebody has cervical cancer and just takes baking soda, food-grade baking soda with a water solution like Dr. Simoncini does, and does a douche with it, the cervical cancer is gone on contact, as far as I believe. And so why even bother with this vaccination junk and crime? Vaccination is a crime. It's an assault with a deadly weapon. It's a crime. And it has never protected anybody from anything. It never will. And people always say, oh, what about polio? Polio disappeared in countries that didn't vaccinate twice as fast as in countries that vaccinated, because it was caused by bad nutrition and bad hygiene. And the second the food got better, the world got cleaner, it just disappeared. And so it's like all these other diseases. It's like if your body is not acidic and lacking oxygen, no virus can multiply in your system. So it doesn't really matter what you get. As long as you're oxygen-rich and alkaline, it does not matter which microbe invades your body, it cannot multiply. It needs an acidic environment to multiply. That's why some people get the flu and some people don't. Some people get the cold, some people don't. You know, I really don't care. I stand in an elevator with 15 people and 3 are sneezing like crazy and have the cold and everybody's hiding and putting their arm and, you know, I don't. A microbe doesn't make you sick. Never did. You are already sick because your body is already so acidic and lacking oxygen. You have nutritional deficiencies. You have stress. You have lack of energy. And then you get something. You will never see somebody getting the cold that is positive, energized, and just full of life. You have to be worn out, you have to be tired, you have to be depressed first, and then you get whatever comes along. So a vaccine, at the end of the day, didn't work, never worked, cannot work, even if hypothetically it cannot even work, because it always causes more damages than it would do good. But there's also really no proof that any vaccine ever worked. If you look at their own tests, they are basically kind of like 1% or 0.5% above the usual placebo effect. And that's all they really need to prove that there's some kind of working mechanism in it. And usually, since the companies do their own research that then they submit to the FDA, yeah. That says it all. It comes out, whoever pays gets the result, whatever they pay for. You know, if we pay somebody and say, we give you $500 million, if you say everybody that paints their head blue will not get cancer anymore, they will come up with this absolutely